Hey guys, welcome back to Trekyards. He is Commander Cockings.
And he is Captain Foley! Yeah, you didn't phase me there.
I didn't stump you. Alright, well, anyway, welcome back guys. We have a lot of Discovery stuff being revealed during the episodes, and actually they're hitting quite a good stride with that and releasing a lot of cool stuff and explaining it pretty quickly, so I'm happy about that. But today specifically we have something we want to talk about. Samuel, what might that be?
Well, we're asking the question, does the Spore drive just work now? But Stuart, go back a step. What is the Spore drive? What is the... Just so people know and we're all on the same page, because not all of you are watching the episodes as they go. What is the Spore drive, Stuart?
Well, it's called the Displacement Activated Spore Hub Drive, and this is a... basically, I don't know if I want to say transdimensional. I think it will be eventually, because it might be mirror universe action going on. But it uses spores, an organic substance, which is laced throughout the entire universe. And it uses that to propel the ship instantaneously from one spot to another, basically using like quantum entanglement.
Yep.
So that's just the basic rundown of it, what it is.
Yeah, it kind of allows you to connect with particles of the universe at somewhere else, and it sort of pulls you in, and then boom, you're there. And we see the effect as a big spinny thing, and then it appears instantaneously to the other place. It doesn't take long to activate either. It's a very quick drive, it seems to be. And it takes a canister of spores, and a single canister can do can go any distance, they say, as they were leading into. And previous to this episode, in the first time we see Discovery episode 3, we're on episode 4, so a lot has been revealed already. They say we've managed to go kilometers, or minuscule jumps. But they say in episode 4 that's very deliberate, because they don't want to risk it, because the problems with the further you go, the more variables, the more displacement and random things can happen. We see with the Glenn in episode 3, it hit a Hawking firewall, and that caused all the matter to go inside out, basically, and that destroyed the ship, but the drive itself worked.
Yeah.
And we both thought, well, it can't be fixed straight away, because that would be whatever. I mean, in this episode they specifically say we can go anywhere instantly across the galaxy, across the universe of galaxy. So what do you think about this quick resolution?
Well, I don't think it's as quick as they think it is. I really don't.
Okay, tell us, what was the missing piece? Like, how do they go from doesn't work to it works seemingly second try?
Well, there was like 3 missing pieces. There was a hardware attachment they had to attach to the navigation console, where they plug the spores into. There was also a little robotic manipulator thing that went in the chamber, the cube chamber, and of course the super brain, the supercomputer behind it all, the Ripper, as it's been affectionately called. So there's these 3 elements, and the Ripper has access to like the whole knowledge of all the locations in the universe or the galaxy. I don't know. They didn't really clarify that too much.
Well, it's a symbiotic relationship. It's connected to the spores, and the spores are the network, so it can kind of feel them, see them, and then it navigated. It's the official navigator of the Spore drive. I guess. I didn't know if they were able to tell the creature where to go, or just they were able to, jack into the dude's brain and just use the information link. Didn't know if it was conscious or not.
Yeah, I think. Remember, he pulled up the star chart and it was incomplete, and then once they plugged in the Ripper, it all became available. I think that comes up and you can select where you want to go. I don't know what kind of communication they have with the Ripper though, because that really wasn't established. I don't think.
Just lots of painful cries.
Yes, I feel bad for the poor thing. Is it going to be a regular crew member? That's my next question. Is it going to be like? I don't know.
Well, did you hear the interesting piece that was revealed at the recent New York Comic Con? That was a couple of days ago. Originally, very old draft, he was going to be a crew member on the Glenn and a survivor with uniform, and would then be a bridge officer.
Wow.
And had
did not hear that.
And then they turned that, and they said it was too expensive, and so they made it this instead.
Yeah, I don't I don't know. Like, are they going to keep this thing in the containment chamber, or the cell at all times, or is it going to be able to wander the ship? Or I'm just confused as to where they're going to go with it. I don't know if they can make something artificial and that maps. See, and like this whole conversation is about whether the spore drive is actually fixed or not. Like I said, I don't think it is. I think we had one successful kind of jump. We know the Glenn didn't go well. Everybody unspooled and became all twisted and spiraled. And I think there's going to be mistakes, especially with going to the mirror universe, or things like that are going to happen with the Discovery due to it not working properly, or maybe something happening to the Ripper. So as I've been saying with Discovery, I'm just excited to see what comes next, because of the way they're going to explain it, and so I'm totally stoked for it.
Yeah, just to jump back to what you said earlier, the plot points are flowing so fast, and you know, they're at least trying to explain it in their own way, and each episode we're learning more and more. And again, we're only 4 in, and really only 2 in to the actual plot. You know, and already we know pretty much everything the ship can do in terms of its purpose. You know, that tells you how insignificant that really is in terms of the grand scheme. You know, yes, it's a plot device to get from the A to B, which the B is the plot. A is just the, you know, whatever. It's like the Warp 5 drive in an Enterprise. If they'd spent like 5 episodes finishing the Warp 5 drive, the Warp 5 engine, and then going, but no, they had it fixed beforehand. So the drive itself, fix is a weird word, because the drive seems to have been fully functional. They cracked the technology part. I mean, the scientist chap said he's working for 12 years, and 6 months ago they co-opted his research. This ship was then built. Now, this ship might have been built before that to be the true science vessel, and then they co-opted it completely, and now it's a war, you know, different captain, whatever. But it obviously works, and the fact that Glenn was so far ahead of them in terms of their research, in terms of their physical jumps, like they're just taking it step by step, and obviously the other Glenn's crew, they developed the technology to find the missing piece, which is the supercomputer, like you said. It's like, you know, the technology works. You just need the battery to plug in to power it. You know, you just need something to really juice it up. And if that's it, if that's all they really needed to create this infinite drive, it's a pretty minor thing that was missing. I mean, yes, it's a supercomputer, but it's pretty minor, and opens up every door potentially now.
Yeah. And I also think, too, one of the most interesting things to me is the fact that this is never referred to again in TNG or anything, which makes me think that this is going to be ultimately a failure, and I think the Discovery is going to jump and become lost somewhere, maybe that's where they're going with the whole series. Eventually, it's just going to disappear and be gone, and nobody's going to know what happened to it. Could be a Voyager thing where they jump and get stuck somewhere and need to get back under regular power.
Yeah, I mean, they've been very, 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 very careful and specific to say this. By the end of the show, the canon all sort of fits together. You know, just wait for it was the keywords they've said. So we know this technology does not exist in TOS, to TNG, anything later. If it did, they could say Voyager. You know, none of the issues that we have, just like transport beaming in the JJ-verse, as soon as you invent the technology, it changes the paradigm. You know, you can beam to Kronos and drop bombs and everyone win. You know, well, they lose, we win, I suppose.
Yeah, Operation Pathfinder, they would have been looking into, well, why don't we try revisiting that Spore drive to get Voyager back? You know, something like that. Never mentioned, so...
Well, my assumption, I wonder if the episode on this is Crossfield, and what happened to that, the first of the class. Yeah. With the Glenn, pretty devastating end, you know, instant, all hands lost, you know, and gruesomely. The Discovery is doing well so far from its, you know, jump there, jump back, you know. But again, what if the creature can cognitively, you know, it gets so frustrated about being abused like this, it says, you know what, you're going to die. Hey, you're all dead. You know, like put it in somewhere awful, you know. I'm sure it has some sort of comprehension to some extent of what is happening, because it can feel that, you know, it's suddenly connected to the universe and it's suddenly being, you know, tapped into that. So I'm sure it could mess that up. But if they lost, like I said, if this it should be they get lost, or if it goes somewhere, comes back, then its warp drive and jump drive both go offline, well, Starfleet would just see total failure, all hands lost, and the 2 scientists that actually understood it are dead. So at some point, you can't necessarily rebuild, and at that point, Maybe discovered peaceful options. And 12 years of research is a pretty hefty thing. I mean, even the Defiant wasn't in as much research. The Enterprise E, none of the Enterprises had that much research put into them, to create it. So if by the end of the show this ship is lost, but maybe the crew survive somewhere else, but the ship is lost, that would explain why it never... it has to be a really grand failure, It has to be the most...
Yeah.
But also, if it is a Section 31, or at least Black Ops, Special Ops ship, then epic failure, and also top secret, then only a handful of people will ever know about it.
Yeah.
And maybe they research it for decades and never just never get it to work. And obviously they try the plans,
Yeah, well, see, that's the other thing. The Section 31 tie-in. I'm wondering how much Starfleet actually knows about what's going on, because Section 31 operates independently from Starfleet, as we've heard many times. So I wonder exactly what that relationship is. That's why I'm skeptical as to whether it is Section 31 on this ship. I kind of think it's not, because they keep saying this is a Starfleet vessel. The admirals pop in. Lorca seems like he's kind of shady in Section 31E, but that's probably going to be explained at some point. I hope it's not Section 31 almost, with the black comm badges, or the black badges, just because it's not clandestine enough for Section 31. And I know...
And just to point out, yes, we know the ship is 1031, but that's not a Section 31 nod. That's...
Yes.
Brian Fuller said, I like Halloween, let's call it 1031. Yes, they might have retconned that back into that, but it was never intended to be that. And Brian Fuller specifically said, it's not a Section 31 storyline. Now again, he was pushed out, left. At that point, they might have said, ooh, we can tie it all together to make it Section 31.
Yeah.
Let's make it, they rewrote scripts from episode 4 onwards, so hey, that might have been the intention after he left. Maybe he didn't want a clandestine thing, he wanted Federation to be pushed rather than it just to be Black Ops guys. But you can, we know there's a Section 31-like entity in Enterprise, a long time before this, and we know DS9, they're a very, very well-organised, well-funded thing. And you mentioned the Admiral. Well, the fact is, Admiral Ross was a collaborator with Section 31, and he was dealing out missions, so I'm sure there's some Admiralty that have been corrupted. Right word, wrong word, who knows? And she might just be the one that knows about it. And you can imagine only a handful of Admirals would even know about the Discovery mission, given its ultra top secret. I mean, as they say, they get a transmission in the third episode said, above top secret. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, basically, as I said all along, I'm really excited to see where this goes, but I don't think that all the problems with the drive have been fixed as of yet. I think they just got lucky. They've put a major missing piece in, but I think there's still going to be issues. As with any experimental technology, there's usually problems along the way. So,
Yeah.
I mean, without the supercomputer, they jumped almost jumped into a sun and would have died themselves. So.
And we don't know how far, of course, that was. We don't know if they managed to get light years close or were totally wrong.
Or the wrong direction, yeah.
Yeah, or they're suddenly in the Delta Quadrant for no... they didn't even go into where that was. That would have been kind of nice to know. Sir, we're 50 light years off course. Okay, but at least we're getting close. So we have no concept of how really working it was. And I will just point out, the other scientist chap that unfortunately died, he was the one that designed this other piece, or at least part of his ship. So who's to say our scientist even can work out exactly how it works? You're assuming, what if he was the theoretical, the other guy was the engineering part of their partnership? So you can, if you can plug and play stuff in, doesn't mean you can really understand its intricacies.
Yeah. I thought it was odd that he just plugged in the equipment from the Glen anyway, because that was a failure. But anyway, it worked out for them, I guess.
So do you think that the jump drive... Okay, well, one little in-canon question. If you were Lorca, ignore the fact he gets kidnapped in the next episode that we see in the trailer, what would your next call be? The jump drive worked, you went a long way, you got back, what would your next call be in terms of he's a gung-ho guy? What would your next thing be?
Oh, that's... Wow. I'd start striking behind Klingon lines, just taking out an outpost or two, maybe some strategic importance, like a shipyard. That would probably be my guess, but I don't know, he's getting orders from on high as well. I don't think he's basically dictating what's going on at all, so I don't know. I don't know what you do because it just seems like such an odd military tactic to develop this ship. And I know Starfleet doesn't shoot first, and they didn't shoot first in this war, but this seems like there'd be some kind of convention against this kind of warfare. It's almost like biological warfare.
Well, it depends. It depends what sort of mission profile we've seen this ship, while powerful enough to take out birds of prey in a couple of hits, its shield itself can't take on many hits. I mean, I'm sure it would absolutely be abysmal against a D7, and D7s can go and take on Connies pretty easily. And this is not a heavy cruiser by any means. This is not a warship. This is not capable of being a warship without massive retrofits. I'm sure that would interfere with the Spore drive itself. So I see this more as a scout ship. That if you can jump into the enemy's construction facility and work out how many ships it has, or it's intelligence says that they've got a new ship under construction, the D7, which would be awesome. We're going to the shipyards and get some scans and try and skip them, beat them to the punch.
That'd be interesting. Yeah, I never considered that, but you're right. It isn't a warship. And the simulation they were running was just in case something happened, because they would be the only ship there.
That's the point. They can't be in fleets. They can't. It's not a full military engagement. And while yes, they could load like shuttles with bombs on and then drop bombs. I mean, like they did in the other episode. They can bomb stuff. But also, if they were to jump in, actually leave survivors, because they didn't leave any survivors at Corridon 2, as I pointed out.
Once any Klingon survivors.
yeah, they killed everyone. No, once they use the driving Klingons and know what's happening, how do they react to this? I mean, can you fight a vessel that can jump in anywhere, or are they going to try and keep it a secret to actually have maximum secrecy and surprise?
Well, that goes back to the Cold War mentality. Like, if you have this weapon and it's jumping in and destroying little targets here and there, as the enemy, you don't know how many of them they have. You don't know if it's a detailed development project that all their future ships are going to have it. That would scare the crap out of you. And then it would create an arms race. They'd want to do the same kind of thing, because that's how arms races happen. They'd want to catch up and have the same technology. So they'd try to capture one of these ships. And again, this is the only one with this drive, but they don't know that. So, I don't know what you would do as the Klingons. I mean, just their mentality. We know they're supposed to be warlike. Yeah, I don't know. That's a very good question, though.
I feel like with this sort of, it's not necessarily a doomsday weapon, but it's doomsday potential. You would, if I was the Klingons, I would say, right, guys, no one's safe. We don't know how strong the ship could be. We need to do the full offensive. We need to end this war now. Bring every ship we can. Let's do one big push in Federation space. Just destroy colony after colony, and one can, and then head straight to Earth to annihilate the Federation. I would say, right, this ship can change the war. Why wouldn't you jump on top of Kronos and just lay bombs on the, High Council chamber? Okay, so it'll piss them off even further. But
I think it's more likely that they'd have spies, and if you know that the Chancellor is leaving on a ship to go so-and-so somewhere, and it's got like 2 escort ships with it, you can jump in and surprise them, take out the Chancellor it's almost like taking out the President, and cause a lot of damage that way. I don't know about jumping into the capital. That's neat though.
Yeah, well, we've seen it do in orbital stuff really easily. And in fact, it's more advanced than warp, because warp you can't warp into an atmosphere. I mean, you can sometimes. Again, inconsistent, but you're not meant to. You're not allowed to. But also, there's an interesting risk reward thing here, because this ship is if it is working the way it seems to be, this is the thing that can change the course of the war pretty much single-handedly, in terms of what it could do, not necessarily what it can do, what it could do. What it could get the intel you need. But if the thing is, we don't know how integral the ring is to say the Spore drive. We don't know, if you can crack it, you can't rotate. That's important or whatnot. So if the ship does ambush the Gorkon of this time, to be fair, it might even be Gorkon. He might even be, whatever. Probably not, but still. If they suddenly get captured, and the Klingons get technology, is it worth the risk to do any military strike? Because if it gets disabled or kidnapped or stopped, they'll have to self-destruct, and you'll lose the one advantage you have in this war. I mean, isn't that too big a risk to even utilize it properly?
You would think, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's odd that it's the only. Well, it wasn't originally the only one, but now it is. I don't know if they'll try to develop more of them. And you brought up an interesting point. If this thing gets attacked and it gets hull damage, like a hull breach on one of those rings, how does that affect the drive? Because I love how the rings rotate. That's kind of neat. And then how the ship jumps, how it's like spins and it's gone. I think it's fantastic. But hopefully they give us an explanation for the correlation between those. But because how many times do you see hull damage on a ship during a battle? I mean, in Star Trek 6, a torpedo goes right through the saucer, right? Something like that happens, you ultimately don't have access to that drive. I would assume.
And if the Klingons were clever, they'd beam a torpedo, as close to the inner ring as possible, close to the shields, and get the maximum internal damage. Because I mean, we know the design's a weak spot, but again, it's designed for a technology limitation rather than designed to be a warship. So again, the ship isn't meant to be there in a fight. But again, against 1d7, I'm sure it would lose pretty quickly. 6 birds of prey, quite a hefty force, but they take the shields basically gone in under 2 minutes, under 3 minutes. It's not capable of surviving a fight particularly. And if you try to go against a fleet, and again, Gorkon ship would be even stronger. The Gorkon at the time. So yeah, my assumption is it'll be espionage missions, but also you got to imagine that Burnham is our theoretical hero. Does it matter if if he then goes in and attacks and she's morally against that? She said you can't use biological weapons, but she's against what he's doing. Does that really affect the plot? Like, can our main characters dislike for what's happening change what's happening, since she has no power to stop it? She's not in a role of importance on that ship, really.
Not yet. She doesn't have a badge yet, but we know she eventually gets one. So
I guess she's the creature's keeper. If she convinced the creature to not allow them access to its subsystem of whatever, then obviously she has some power there. And I'm sure that's going to be quite important. She's a xenobiologist for a reason. She's the one that she's the friend with the beast or the Ripper. But you got to keep that thingy on side, because as soon as he decides not to cooperate, I mean, the thing's as stuck as it ever was. I mean, the jump drive's great for a quick escape because it still works, but it's a risk every single time. I was just kind of surprised how quickly it worked and how obviously the technology was spot on. It just needed a supercomputer, which you would think you'd design, but we haven't got Daystrom yet, so the M5 is not ready yet, guys. They're still on M3s and they're not up to the task.
M1 through 5 was a failure, so
yes.
Anyway,
Yes.
yeah, so I think that's it at our look at the fidget spinner of Starfleet for now. Sorry, I had to. I've been mulling that one in my head for like ever. But as to whether it's actually effectively fixed as far as the Spore drive goes, I don't think so. I think there's a lot of development still to go and a lot of mistakes that are going to happen along the way, which will make for some interesting storylines and some great plot devices. So
yeah, I mean, just a quick one. Imagine the dude corrupts the data and it jumps into Romulan space accidentally, really deep in their territory, and they can't reinitiate it. So it's like, oh, this is bad. This is bad. We're gonna warp out. Oh no, we're stuck.
Yeah. Well, it's a great storytelling device. It opens up so many possibilities for.
It opens up potential if it's broken and also if it works.
Yeah. So, what do you guys think? Do you think it's fixed? What do you want to see from this jump drive? I mean, I'm pretty sure the Mirror Universe is going to show up because of an error.
Jonathan Frakes said it would. So.
No, I don't know. Did he? I don't know. Anyway, so let us know in the comments below, and we look forward to talking to you again about other Discovery stuff, because there's lots to talk about. And once we learn more about the Spore drive, I'm sure we'll have a more detailed analysis at some point.
Yes. And if you want to support that analysis, guys, you can help in a couple of ways. Either just share this video to anyone you think Trek fans would enjoy it, because we like to think we're your Trek friends next door sort of thing. Or support us on Patreon, a monthly donation service. It's really important to help channels like ours keep going. A little bit each every month really helps. If, say, 10 of you give $5, makes a difference. A one-time donation at trekyards.com. Give a little bit or a lot, and it all goes towards production of this show, this channel, and keeping up to date with basically daily videos.
Yeah.
On all stuff Discovery and Orville, because we look at that too.
Also, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss anything. And we look forward to seeing you all again very soon. And oh, yes, don't forget our Facebook pages. Lots of great discussion over there on new Discovery tech. Trying to keep it spoiler free over there, but, go check it out anyway. A lot of people don't even know we have a Facebook page, so go check out the Facebook page.
It's incredibly active, so please do.
Yes, absolutely. So until next time, guys, I'm Captain Foley.
And I am Commander Congress.
Bye.
Bye, guys.